It's another of a one-time dream. Man, I tell you what, I went out driving today because I met Ian for lunch downtown back in the Back Bay area. Then I drove over to Waltham, which is out this way. I wanted to see the Celtics practice facility. Couldn't find it. And the traffic out this area is unbelievable. It makes Atlanta
Live
look
from
like
Columbia, this is Sports
freaking
Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Atlanta on
Tonight's show.
steroids.
Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Things that we've been doing in practice to change some of the mentality of what we're doing and not trying to get 1,000 reps on our opponent, but getting quality reps. And we've done a lot more technical, fundamental stuff instead of taking the time to run team stuff. So, working a lot of tackling all week, and I think guys bought in.
Option kind of football, but they'll attack you vertically as well off all their play actions and with a little more capability in a lot of option teams. You've got a big presence at quarterback.
Defense, defense. That's the cry of tonight's show here on Sports Talk as we hear from Lorenzo Ward, USC defensive coordinator, Brent Venables, Clemson's defensive coordinator, coming up in just a few minutes. Yes, I know we're a couple of days late, but we do have him, Auburn defensive coordinator, former USC defensive coordinator, former Clemson defensive coordinator, Ellis Johnson, coming up at 6:15. So we look forward to having him with us to talk Auburn football and some college football in general. Welcome into Sports Talk on this football Friday night. Phil Kornbluth coming to you from Boston. Been up here, it seems like forever, but not quite the case, just a couple of days. But it's beautiful in New England today. This is the kind of day that would make you want to live up here. I was in downtown Boston today, had lunch with Sports Talk intern Hall of Famer Ian Maripol, and we had lunch at a place in an area called the Back Bay. It's on Boylston Street. We actually walked to the points where the bombs went off in the Boston Marathon. I actually stood where the first bomb went off at the start-finish line and also walked past where the second bomb went off a few hundred feet up Boylston Street. It's quite an eerie feeling, but you wouldn't know it except for some of the ribbons wrapped around the light poles at those particular places. But Ian pointed out to me where the first bomb was, and he also showed me the camera on the light pole by the red lights that picked up the image of the person, the kids, the people involved in the bombing. That one camera that caught those two guys, and that was the picture that led the police to hunt them down. So, it's a historic. Despite the disgusting nature of the crime, it's still a historic point in the city and in our country. And it was interesting to walk through there and see how it's all been rebuilt and recovered. And businesses are going on strong there. There are restaurants at both places where those bombs went off, and they were filled with people having lunch this afternoon. So we've had a great day here in Boston today. The weather has turned very nice. It's supposed to be nice for football tomorrow. We'll talk about all of that, USC and Furman, Clemson and Boston College. The Governors will be here with their picks. We'll give you our picks. We want to hear from you as well. But when we come back, Ellis Johnson will join us to talk about Auburn and USC, college football in general. Back in a moment. Oh, Sam Shields is out.
No bueno.
Clowney expects to play Monday.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Meniscus
Really makes me
tears are
mad
really,
about
really strange injuries.
Say what?
They're like even though they're like the least damaging, as it were, as far as knee structural stuff goes. Probably the most gruesome when they have like crack open your skin or something, blood just gushes out to see if that's all they need to see is if there's blood in there.
Yee.
You know your meniscus is torn.
Yee.
Let me coil us. Round 2.
What? He's not answering?
Not as of yet.
I'll just text him. Calling.
Lord knows all these state lines.
Get him. He's standing by waiting for us. Hopefully he's
Put
here.
your number in the text box one more time just to make sure it's not right. I'm about to come up here. Stand by.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on a Friday night. Phil Kornblut with you alone tonight. K-Mac is off. Professor Tom Hayes is off. Well, not totally alone. I do have the steak man, Graham Pope, back at our Columbia studios, and we've got you dialed in around the state of South Carolina, wherever you happen to be tonight. Thank you for being with us here on Sports Talk. We have got a great show for you tonight. We're in the process of dialing up Ellis Johnson, who I have communicated with and is expecting to be with us tonight, and hopefully we'll hook up with him. He is at a high school football game doing some scouting tonight, so we're working to connect with him. We'll have the governors with us at the bottom of the hour for our weekly football filibuster. We'll share with you our picks for the weekend as well. We'll also give you a good dose of recruiting information tonight, and we'll take a lot of your phone calls, too, as we move through the show. Phone number 800-956-7266. That's how you can reach us. Email talkback at sportstalksc.com. On Twitter at sportstalksc. The website is sportstalksc.com, and on Facebook, Sports Talk Radio Network. That's how you can communicate with us here a variety of ways. Don't forget, on the website, sportstalksc.com, we have our live audio feed for you up at the top of the page, and at the bottom of the page, we have our live video feed that you can watch the show and hear the show through. And, of course, should you lose us over the airwaves for whatever reason, you do have the option of iHeartRadio. Two of our stations stream over iHeartRadio, WGVL in Greenville, WSEA in Myrtle Beach, and we thank them for being part of Sports Talk. And tomorrow, of course, I'll be covering Clemson and Boston College. K-Mac will be covering the Gamecocks and Furman. Follow our coverage all afternoon long on Twitter and on our website with the post-game coverage from the USC Furman game and the Clemson Boston College game. You can hear a lot of good stuff from coaches and players on the website after the games, stuff that you don't hear over the radio on their post-game shows. And we'll have our evaluations, our video recaps of the game, statistics, and everything that you need to get a good feel for what happened at the respective stadiums, Williams, Bryce, and Alumni Field here in Boston. So that is what we've got for you tonight. Stakeman is working to get Ellis, and so far, no success. But I know he's there and waiting to talk to us. We will get him tonight at some point in time. We're working on it, and we will bring him to you as soon as we get connected. In fact, he might be calling in to us as we speak. While I wait for confirmation, let me pass along a couple of things. First of all, Todd Gurley did not make the trip to Arkansas with Georgia. That has been confirmed today by the folks at Georgia, and the NCAA is continuing to work with Georgia, and they are awaiting Georgia's request for reinstatement. That was announced by the NCAA yesterday. So all of that is still hanging in the balance, and just one of the two big burning issues in college football right now, Todd Gurley and Jameis Winston. And it's a shame because it takes away from the actual great play on the field that we all enjoy with all the other great players around the country who aren't caught up in this kind of stuff. Okay. We've got Ellis Johnson with us now, so let's go to him. We welcome into Sports Talk the defensive coordinator for the Auburn Tigers, but well known around the state of South Carolina for having held a variety of jobs in our state. But we like him because he's a good friend of Sports Talks. It's Ellis Johnson. Coach, how are you tonight? Good to have you with us.
Doing good. Good to be on with you, Phil.
Well, we were bound and determined to get to you, and we're glad that we are able to get to you.
Time zone straightened out.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, how was the week at Auburn? It's your off week, so you guys get a little bit of a break. But how was your practice week, and how much did you prepare for South Carolina this week?
It's been a good week. Off weeks at Auburn aren't really off weeks. We came back in Sunday, had a normal Sunday. Monday's our normal day off from practices, so we let players obviously have that day off. We practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and hit the road Friday. And I'm actually over in North Carolina recruiting, and we'll go back in tomorrow morning, meet, kind of get the plan ready. We practiced about an hour and a half, 3 different days, and we did not really get into South Carolina game plan, but everything we did on our just working our base defense and so-face offense, we put, of course, Carolina looks on the other side because it wasn't important working against something different. But we really felt like we had to do 2 things. We had to go back to some basics. We laid an egg over in Starkville, just didn't play well fundamentally. And the other thing we wanted to do was not be too much physical work. We got a 6-game stretch right now. It's murderous.
What happened at Mississippi State? You said you laid an egg. They beat you 38-23. Is it a case that they're just that good and their offense is just that good?
I think they're a very good football team. I do think we're a better team when we play up to our level, but we didn't prove it, so you have a chance. You didn't get it done. When I say fundamentally, we turned the ball over 4 times. We didn't tackle particularly well. We had really improved the previous 2 games in tackling. Thought it was not good. And some of that you have to attribute to Mississippi State. They have a good balanced offense, big experienced, older offensive line. A quarterback, I think it's legitimate to be talking about him as a Heisman candidate. First of all, he's got some character. He's probably going to finish out the season, you know. Second of all, he's a very good football player. Reminds me of Tebow, but I think he throws better. He's 230 pounds, but I think he throws a better ball. but we just did. You know, we had a really bad night offense. We turned the ball over the first 2 plays. We had the ball, and just weren't in our normal performance level. So we were disappointed we didn't play as well as we could. But you got to give State credit; they could have made some of that happen.
Yeah, Prescott 121 yards rushing, 246 yards passing. Is he the best offensive player you've seen so far individually this season?
You know, that'd be a hard question to answer. I do think he's the most valuable player to that team. He just gives them an element that, you know, you have to sometimes make calls to worry about him running the ball, and you give kids a chance to make plays outside against players that maybe are just a little bit better than they are, but you got to single them up all the time. But I think his best asset feels between his ears. I mean, he's 230 pounds. He runs pretty good. He throws a nice ball, but the best asset he has between his ears. Very hard to get him to make a mistake. He did put one ball on the ground. We didn't get it. And if he fumbled another snap, we didn't get that one. He did throw us 2 picks. They weren't good balls. So I say he didn't play. He did play extremely well. I don't know, maybe he didn't, but most of his rushing yardage was on scrambles. And it's very hard for an athlete like that. When you play in normal third down coverage, it's very hard sometimes to keep him pinned up. And he made the plays when he had to, and you got to tip your hat to him.
Does your defense resemble South Carolina's from your days at USC in any way, schematically speaking?
I guess, you know, we're still basing it out of a 4-2-5. Our personnel's a little different. We had some guys that played what we called the spur position then that were more physical and could come off the edge and maybe get in the box a little more frequently. Our star for us now is what we call the spur. Great athlete, probably our best athlete on defense, and we put him in coverage quite a bit more than single man and all this, and are able to do some things with our safeties. But not to get too technical about it, we're playing the same basic defense, and add a wrinkle here or there, but it is basically overall the same scheme.
You've got the young man from, I think it's Wando, Jamel President, at defensive end, a backup right now on your 2-deep depth chart, but I remember him coming out of high school. How well is he playing for you?
He is, very proud of him. He had not touched the field before this year, through his freshman and sophomore years. Continued to work hard. I think the kid's probably gained about 40 pounds since he's been here, because remember him, recruited him in high school. Just a great young man, hard worker, good attitude. And he actually got the start last week. He in front of Ladarius Owens. Ladarius had a knee during the week that swelled up on a little bit, irritation, nothing serious. But he missed a couple of days of practice, so Rodney gave him the start. And he played very solid.
All right, hang on, Ellis. Going to jump to a quick break, come back with you for a couple of more minutes. We're visiting with Ellis Johnson. Back in a sec.
Let me touch base. Hold tight.
Yep.
Tastes good as long as the phone doesn't die on us.
Okay. What was the problem early on? Was he not hearing the phone, or wasn't ringing in, or what? Did he say?
That'd be my guess. Reminds me of the old Friday night show, man. You can definitely hear a football game in the background.
Mm-hmm.
Kids and parents and hot dogs.
I know where he is, but I'm not going to say.
There are times when I miss doing that show.
What, Friday night?
Yeah, because it was
high
octane.
Oh, yeah, I love that show. Love that show. Hopefully next year. Hopefully.
Phone lines just wouldn't stop. Graham, do this. Graham, do that. Hit a break.
Hopefully do this. Hopefully next year. I like having a camera on you. That's important. And apparently, it's never switching from you. I don't see me.
Yeah, well, I switch it over to manual since I've got so much stuff going on over here by myself. I don't switch it as much as I normally do.
What do you mean switch it?
Well, I got to switch it myself. It's hard to explain. Stand by. I'm about to bring you guys back.
Okay. Okay, we're back at Sports Talk on this Friday night, visiting with Ellis Johnson, brought to you by the South Carolina soybean farmers and their checkoff. Learn more at scsoybeans.org. Pork powered by soy. Yes, the soybean farmers in South Carolina still remember you, Ellis. They haven't forgotten you from your time in South Carolina, the soybean farmers.
Oh, I thought I'd been cut off.
No, you're with us. Let me ask you about getting ready for South Carolina when you get back this weekend to Auburn. You guys turn your attention towards the Gamecocks. And offensively, what will be your focus points as you prepare your game plan?
Boy, I tell you, that's a tough one. Right now, I know they're struggling overall and frustrated, but this is a football team that should be right in the middle of the picture. And I'm more familiar actually with the offensive players than the defensive players because they're older, and most of them were there when I left. And their offensive line's an older bunch of veterans, and there's some talent in there that is NFL level, and they've played together. I mean, they're going to be really good, probably as good a front as we had to play against so far. The receiver core probably, I know they'll be the fastest, probably as good or better than any receiver core we've seen yet. Running backs, the three of them can play for anybody in this league. Dylan knows Coach Spurrier as offense and knows Coach Spurrier and is an extension of him, and you can tell he's functioning within the system. So, I mean, it's just the balance. I see the balance. I've got behind in some games and had to get out of their balance, and that's what's hurt them. But in trying to prepare for them, they're definitely a good offensive football team. It's going to be a really tough deal to try to slow them down.
Are you at all surprised with some of the defensive struggles considering the personnel they lost from last year? Because in the preseason, Lorenzo was talking like this defense can be as good as it was last year. Obviously, that hasn't turned out to be the case thus far.
Yeah, you just don't know. I haven't been able to watch them a single game. I think I saw a part of Georgia, and I hadn't been able to watch anything other than, breaking tape down. So I don't look at that side of the ball. I just knew how young they were going to be in the secondary. And then when you lose guys like Clowney and Kelsey and all those guys can get that ball out of that quarterback's hands, and that's a double whammy for you back there. So, I mean, it's very hard with young players, and that's all I know. I look at their depth chart over there, and the only ones I remember are the Dixon boys because I signed them, and a couple other guys that I was involved in a little bit. Victor left early, so he's not there anymore. Jadavian left early. He's not there anymore. Kelsey left. I just really don't know a lot about those guys on that side of the ball because it's so young. They're a sophomore, freshman group that's probably struggling just because of youth.
We wish you a very restful weekend. You get a little bit of a break here. You're doing some scouting tonight, and then you can relax over the weekend and then get back to work next week on South Carolina. We thank you for the time, as always. Always great talking to you. Look forward to having you back on the show sometime soon.
Thanks, Bill. Good to talk to you.
Our pleasure. Ellis Johnson, defensive coordinator with the Auburn Tigers, and, of course, we'll be talking more about Auburn and Ellis's defense. They do have still some outstanding defensive talent. For example, Montravius Adams, remember him in recruiting. Clemson was heavily involved. 6'4", 306 defensive tackle. Darius Owens, he's big-time defensive end. 6'2", 259. He was a little bit beat up, so Jamel President started for him last week. Remember Casanova McKenzie, the one-time Clemson recruit. And we got to hit a break, and we'll be back.
Boy, on the man, I'll cut you as clean as possible in 1 second.
I thought I was within the.
I type it to you. I can do the best I can, Corn.
No, I know. Did we get out clean?
I cut you as soon as you said Jamel President. Boom, I cut you. It was a clean sentence. It wasn't the best thing in the world, but at least it was clean.
Yeah.
Sometimes I marvel at my skill.
I do too.
All right, governors.
Yeah, I'm gonna get a bottle of water and I'll be back.
Are we on schedule for both of them? Are they both okay?
Yeah. I hadn't heard anything otherwise. Be back. Be right back. guess I will be going to get any water. Yeah. Well, I guess I will go get any water because I don't have $1.
Always broke.
Well, I got the money. I just don't have. I need $1. It's $1.75 in the machine down the hall. I got $1.20. I
You
still
paying
have a
for
dollar.
that Yankee water,
I don't have a.
$1.75.
I don't have $1 bill. Say what?
Paying for that Yankee water, $1.75.
Mm-hmm. I know freaking Yankees. What a great city, though. But man, the traffic's brutal. Brutal, brutal, brutal. Let's see. I think Matt Long has sent in his picks. There they are. Let's see what losers he has selected. Dum 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 dum. Dang, we've all gone Clemson across. I almost picked Boston College. I still have a sneaky suspicion about that game. I might change mine. I'm still torn over that one. Boston College getting 5 at home. No running game for Clemson. A gimpy quarterback. I'm going to go the other way.
All right, Corn, I got him. Stand by.
Okie doke. All right, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on a Friday night. Again, thanks to Ellis Johnson for being with us tonight here on Sports Talk to talk some football. But let's get to a couple of real football minds. I mean, a couple of guys that know it inside and out. And let's I'm just reading a note here from Steakman. Let's welcome in, as we begin our football filibuster on this Friday night, we have with us two of the greatest governors in South Carolina history. And we can say that because they're no longer involved in actual politics, so we can rain praise upon them now. Maybe not so much when they were actually making decisions that impacted us all. But it's okay to do that now. We have Governor Jim Hodges and Governor David Beasley with us again tonight. Governor Hodges, how are you, sir?
I'm good, Phil. How are you?
Man, it's great to have you with us. And Governor Beasley, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, especially with Jim doing so bad last weekend.
You know what, Governor Hodges, he took you out to the woodshed. He did a little Adrian Peterson on you. He went out and got the switch, and he spanked your fanny there a little bit. Hope he didn't bruise you up too much.
I think he might have been doing that intentionally just to give me some help.
You know, David kicked me pretty good, and I had to cancel my autograph session with Stephen Garcia tonight.
Nobody was interested any longer, huh?
I had to pay them to take my autograph.
Well, I tell you what, Governor Beasley last week, a very good week for you. Very un-Beasley-like, 6-4, So you're 34 and 36, and Governor Hodges, you really had a tough week. 2 and 8 against the spread, 37 and 33. So you still have, Governor Hodges, a 3-game advantage.
Yeah, got to do better this week. That was like the stock market last week. I did really bad, but I'll pick it up.
Well, stock market kind of bounced back, I think, today a little bit. So we'll see how you do. Gentlemen, let's get at it. We got 10 very tough games to pick from. Governor Beasley, we'll let you lead off if you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Let's begin with Kentucky at LSU. Kentucky is getting 10, Governor Beasley.
I'm going with Kentucky.
Kentucky. All right. You ever have any of that good water they make in Kentucky?
That's why I'm going with Kentucky.
Oh, there you go. That's what I figured. Governor Hodges, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to be drinking some of it tonight. So, you know what? I am going to take LSU in this game.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Why, as governor, when you were Governor Hodges, Governor Beasley, you too, why did you two not develop like a line of bourbon or something here in South Carolina? Why can't we make that like they do in Kentucky?
Well, we just didn't have a good advisor like you that was giving us these kind of great ideas.
Think of the money you could have made. The taxes. Think of the taxes you could have levied had you come up with that.
I think I had enough problems with ideas coming from you. I can see that already.
All right. Speaking of moonshine states, Tennessee at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss giving up 16.5 here at home. What do you think, Governor Beasley?
I think Tennessee better bring all the moonshine they can because they're going to need more than 16.5 to soak their sorrow. So I'm going with Ole Miss.
Ole Miss, okay. Governor Hodges, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with David on that. The defense is too good, and the quarterback's playing pretty darn well. I'll take Ole Miss.
Okay. Missouri at Florida. Very sorry performance by Mizzou last week. Do they bounce back getting 5.5, Governor Beasley?
That's a tough one, but I'm going to go with the Gators. I feel like the Gators going to pull it out with the spread we're talking about. So I'm going with Florida.
Mm-hmm. Governor Hodges?
Yeah, I agree. We may have made Missouri look better than they really are. They look awful against Georgia. I'm going to take the Gators.
Yeah, Matty Monk's been kind of a disappointment in my eyes so far. We'll see if he can get it going. Georgia at Arkansas, playing that game in Little Rock, by the way, and they're going to do it without Todd Gurley. Maybe Bill Clinton will drop in on that game. Who knows? Governor Beasley, what do you think?
Well, I probably would pick Georgia normally, but I don't know why. I think Arkansas might just have a little bit better day than expected, and that little bit of spread. I think they might pull it out with the spread. I think Georgia still might win, but with 3.5, it might be a field goal. So I'm going with Arkansas.
Okay, Arkansas 0-3 in the SEC. A little bit surprised by that because they're better than that. Governor Hodges, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm with Governor Beasley on that. Arkansas has lost several close games. They played really well, and they're playing at home. I think I'm going to take Arkansas.
Okay, Texas A&M at Alabama. 13.5 is the spread. Alabama's the favorite. Nick Saban says, get off his back for winning by 1 point. I mean, the people are spoiled around there. They get mad. You only win by a point. He says you're idiots. Governor Beasley, what do you think?
I'm going to go with Texas A&M. I think 13.5 points is a lot of points, but I'm probably going to regret that one. But I'm going to give it a shot. Marywood might shoot me, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. Governor Hodges, what do you think? Hide the guns. What do you think, Governor Hodges?
I'm with Mary Wood on this. I think that Saban is going to have him really playing in Tuscaloosa here, and A&M's not looked particularly good the last few weeks. So I will take Bama.
Yeah, I think if they get a chance to roll it up, they will, just to show people that they still can. All right, Governor Hodges, you shall lead us now. And Virginia at Duke. Duke at home, favored by 3.
I'm going to take Duke in this one. UEA has played pretty well, but Duke looked really good against Georgia Tech, and they played good at home this year. So I'll take Duke.
Governor Beasley?
Same thing. I'm with Governor Hodges on that. I think Duke, being at home, they got a good season going. I think with the 3 points that they're giving up, I still think they'll be in good shape.
All right. So Duke at home laying 3. NC State, big disappointment last couple of weeks at Louisville. Louisville is favored by 17.5. Governor Hodges.
Yeah, what is it with the BB guns with all these guys in the ACC?
I know.
This is the second team that's had major problems with players and BB guns. I would take Louisville anyway, but since State's got 5 guys out, I think it's pretty safe to say that they'll trounce them. So I'll take Louisville.
Okay, Governor Beasley.
Yeah, I'm with Jim. I think 17.5. They could probably give it away 28.5. I'm going with Louisville.
Okay, Georgia Tech at North Carolina. Tar Heels getting 2 points at home. Feeling better about themselves, even though they lost at Notre Dame. They made it somewhat close last week. And Georgia Tech, they stunk last week at home against Duke. Governor Hodges.
Yes, this is a hard one for me to pick. I'm going to take Tech just because I think that UNC will have trouble with their running game. So let me take Tech.
All right, Governor Beasley.
I'm with the governor on that one. I think Tech's it. I think even though North Carolina had a pretty good showing last week, I can't imagine them doing it back-to-back. Tech's got enough strength. I'm with Tech.
Okay, how about Notre Dame at Florida State and the Seminoles giving up 10.5? Jameis Winston, as of tonight, is going to play. Governor Hodges.
I think
Governor Hodges.
Florida State's going to win that one.
Say one more time, Governor Hodges.
Yeah, I think Florida State's going to win that one by more than 10.5. If they struggle with UNC, Notre Dame at home, they're going to get killed on the road by Florida State.
All right, and Governor Beasley, what do you think?
Well, if Notre Dame had Rudy on the field, I might go with Notre Dame, but I'm going with Florida State.
Florida State it is. All right, and let's wrap it up with Clemson at Boston College. BC getting 5 at home. Governor Hodges.
BC. I think that Clemson will win, but BC, I'll take the points.
Take the points. Governor Beasley?
Jim might be right. Clemson's playing absolutely so just up and down, left and right. But I'm going to go with the Tigers anyway and just hope they have a solid game. It's a great day after being at last week's game. It was just horrific.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Well, it was close.
Do we get out in time?
Missed it by 5.
5 seconds?
Yep.
I saw you write 5, but I thought he said he took the Tigers, and what part got nipped?
Well, I don't have the access key here anymore, which stinks, so I can't really. It was about 5 seconds too long. I mean, it's about the time he gave his answer, boom, music went up. It wasn't horrendous.
Yeah, and part of the problem too was the return audio started breaking up on me.
Yeah, I could hear you having an issue with. I could see you squinting a little bit.
Has my audio sounded pretty solid?
I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, it's been good. The return audio just started breaking up right there at the very end.
What do we need to do about? You want to do Shelton here? Do we have Shelton at some point?
Yeah, Shelton right now.
Okay, just make sure.
And why didn't you play the the filibuster music?
Okay, I'm just worried about everybody's mean emails and stuff. So if that's okay.
No. Yeah, I mean, where'd you get that? No, that's fine. We can play that. That's a song that belongs to the country. Doesn't belong to.
I agree too, but you got to realize the difference in when they send those emails and it's like only in bold. Only.
Well, don't worry about it.
All right, filibuster for me or not. I got no problem with that.
Yeah.
Let me find Shelton. I love how NASCAR has turned into wrestling.
I've got to remember, too, when I'm coming through this way, not to talk over these guys on the phone because they can't hear. It gets muted out. I got to remember not to do that. Yeah, I really like having the view of the production room. I can see when there's callers. I can see when you got a guy on the phone. That works out well. Once again, thanks to Governor Hodges and Governor Beasley for being with us tonight for our football filibuster. David Shelton to join us in just a moment. As for the panel's picks for this week, and let me tell you that Matt the Newsman tore it up last week. 7-3 makes him 39-31. Steakman went 5-5. He's 32-38. Pro 5-5, 39-31 against the spread. So Pro and Matt tied for the lead. K-Mac 2-8 last week, 33-37, and your humble host here 3-7. Not a good week, 36-34, but still alive. As far as this week goes, Kentucky and LSU. Pro and K-Mac taking LSU. The rest of us Kentucky. Tennessee at Ole Miss, and it is K-Mac and Matt taking Tennessee. The rest Ole Miss. Florida across the board in its game. In the Georgia-Arkansas game, Pro is taking Georgia. Matt is taking Georgia. Alabama, Texas A&M. And I've got Bama along with Pro and the Steakman. The rest are taking A&M. We're all picking Duke against Virginia except for Matt. He's taking the Cavaliers. I've got Louisville, and so does Graham. The other three are taking NC State. Georgia Tech and North Carolina. K-Mac's picking Tech, as is Matt's. The rest of us have North Carolina. Pro's the only one taking Florida State against Notre Dame. The rest of us are taking Notre Dame in the points. And everybody is taking Clemson except me. I'm taking Boston College and the points. At first I had Clemson, and I started thinking about it. Lack of a running game. A quarterback with a bum shoulder could go down any time. I know they got the great defense against the run, which Boston College does extremely well, but they haven't faced a quarterback who can run the ball the way this guy can. And I remember Maryland a couple of years ago with Brown at quarterback ran Clemson silly. This is a better defense than then for Clemson, but I think it's going to be a low-scoring, close game, and I'll take the 5 points. Clemson might very well win. But right now, I'm picking Boston College to win and to take the points, too. So we'll see what happens, but that's how I see it. As we welcome in David Shelton of the High School Sports Reports, in time for tonight's South Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance High School Football Report. As we look ahead to tonight's games, David, a lot of critical region games now around the state. A lot of teams, undefeated teams in region play meeting up in games that could determine the respective regions here as we count down toward the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, after this week, we got 2 weeks left in the regular season, and 3-2, 1A, and Skeeza, and we'll have 3 weeks left in 4A. So, yeah, I mean, you get to this point, if you're undefeated or 1-1 or have one regional loss, you're in the hunt. If you're at this point with 2 regional losses after tonight, you're pretty much done, hoping to get into the playoffs. So yeah, a lot of things nothing will be really decided, but a lot of things will come into a clear picture after tonight.
Gotta like the Lawrence and Hillcrest game tonight, Region 1 4A. What a year Lawrence is having, 6-1, 3-0 in the region.
Yeah, they're playing exceptionally well, and a little bit of a surprise, but Lawrence is had athletes in the past, so this should not be a shocker. The shocker may be that Greenwood has struggled out of the gate. That a lot of people thought maybe Greenwood might be the team to beat in this region, or Hillcrest. So the winner of this game probably will go on to win the region, because these are 2 very good teams. They're both being in the playoffs. In 4A region championships, I guess they're important, but they don't mean much. It's more about getting to the playoffs and getting to the postseason and having a chance to run in November.
How about Lancaster? The year the Bruins are having, 6-1. They're 2-0 in the region. They play South Point for the first time, and the Stallions are also 2-0 in region play.
Yeah, this will be the toughest game Lancaster has played to date. This will be a real challenge. I think they can compete. I think they have a shot. But like I said, it'll be the toughest game they've played. South Point has played some pretty good people coming through the season. So, I think South Point should win. But, this is a team of Lancaster. They got a new coach, and like I said, they did play a little lighter schedule to where they could get some success. But if they win tonight, then they'll prove they're for real.
All right, let me ask you real quick. McBee and Great Falls 7-0. McBee 6-1.
Yeah, I guess that in August, if you'd have said, "Hey, these 2 teams will have 1 loss between them," I'd have bet you a lot of money. So good for them, and the winner's going to probably win that region.
Okay, David, thank you, sir. Have a great night covering high school football. You can see David's stuff at the High School Sports Report, hssr.com, also at the Post and Courier, and we'll be back in just a moment. Yes, sir. We got it. We were. Governor Beasley wrote back, to be clear, I was picking Clemson when disconnected. Okay, I'll do recruiting here.
Trying to end the rain.
Say what?
He's trying to end the rain.
Yeah.
That's REIGN.
Got it.
Not, precipitation or anything.
Got it. Yeah, I got him down. I hope I'm not making a mistake here by switching to Boston College.
What did I take? Did I take BC? I think I did, right?
No, you took Clemson. Everybody had Clemson.
Was what, plus 5 or something?
Yeah, Clemson BC getting 5.
Wow, I thought I took BC there.
Took a BC powder.
Yeah, that's a tough one with having Cole back there.
Yeah, that's what concerns me. I mean,
and no running game.
No running game to speak of.
The whole thing is I haven't seen BC play because they're not worth it. Stand by.
All right, let's give you the recruiting report here on this Friday night on Sports Talk, brought to you by South Carolina's Electric Cooperatives, sponsors of the 2014 Touchstone Energy Bowl, coming up on December 13th in Myrtle Beach. Please make plans to be there to watch some of the best high school players in the state of South Carolina. First of all, in basketball, 6'5" Tevin Mack of Dreer down to his final official. After seeing Georgia, VCU, Clemson, and Connecticut, Mack and his mom will spend the weekend at USC. Connecticut was his most recent visit. He went up to Stores last weekend, and his mom said he had a good visit. Mom did not go on that trip, but he really enjoyed it. She said different environment, etc. Now the mom will be with him this weekend at USC, and of course they've been there before. But she's looking forward to kind of mingling with the players and the coaches again and getting to know everybody and looking at the academics and the day-to-day routine. But she says that they've enjoyed all the visits. After this visit, the decision from Mack shouldn't be far off. His mom said next week with a question mark, so she's hoping it'll be next week. There is no favorite. He hasn't told me, she said. As for her favorite, no comment, she said, though she did admit that she has one. But she told him whatever he decides, where he feels comfortable, if it's right up the street or up north, it's all right with her as long as he gets his education. Football. Junior defensive lineman Malik Walker, 6'2", 265, was at Clemson for the Louisville game. The Tigers like him a lot. They see him as a Grady Jarrett type of player, so they're pretty high on him. And he says he could see himself going there. Clemson, UCLA, Tennessee, Nebraska, Georgia Tech have offered, with the Tigers, Vols, and Bruins out front right now. He plans to return to Clemson for the USC game. USC's win over Georgia earlier this year helped the Gamecocks work their way into the top 5 with defensive back Marlon Character from Atlanta. He's been to 2 games this year, and one of them was the USC-Georgia game. He enjoyed the visit there and talked with the USC coaches and enjoyed that. And he has paid attention to where he could fit in on the USC defensive unit. He's also been to Alabama for the Florida game. That was another positive trip for him. Right now, he's got USC, Georgia, Alabama, Auburn, and Virginia Tech as his top 5 in no order. And running back Elijah Holyfield of College Park, Georgia, son of Evander, has had a busy season. He's made a lot of visits. He's getting interest from USC and Clemson. He was at the USC-Clemson game last year, and he saw Clemson play at Georgia earlier this year. He plans to see USC play at Auburn. Right now he doesn't have any favorites. Offers include Georgia, Ohio State, Tennessee, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, Vandy, Arkansas, BC, Duke, Wisconsin, Virginia Tech, Wake Forest, and others. He's also going to go to the Georgia-Auburn game and the Michigan State-Ohio State game. All right, he's got 17 touchdowns so far this year. So South Carolina and Clemson both involved with him. There you go with recruiting here on a Friday night, top of the hour break. We'll be back here on Sports Talk. All right. I wish I had a buck.
All right, Corn, you there?
Yes, sir.
Just real
Yeah, I'm
quick.
here.
Finally got Monty cleaned up I got him down to 9:23. So it'll play more normal with the music opening, so I don't need you there. I'll just start it from the jump, but I will need you to give me a generic ending at the end.
Okay. We just take a question and answer.
So here's what it'll end up being.
Pick Harp doesn't have a
You asked him to make a
teammate
pick.
that it would be beneficial
Here's the answer.
for him to help them win.
So he's talking about not having a teammate that needs to help him win either. And that'll end there, and then you say, hey, thanks, Monty. Da-da-da-da, and then I'll hit music right about that time.
Okay.
So your final question is?
You go out on a limb and just say and come up with one guy you think's going to emerge.
Well, I would pick Harvick because he's good at that, him to help them win.
Yeah, blah, 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 but he doesn't have a teammate either.
Okay.
So I'll need you to mute yourself. Let me just play that, but then I need you to stand by right there at the end and turn yourself back on, and then boom.
Mm-hmm. See if we can get some calls in here tonight. I got some email I can get to. Oh, God, this thing.
All right, stand by. Coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Live from Columbia, this is Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network. Be a part of tonight's show. Call us at 800-956-7266 or email talkback@sportstalksc.com. Now, here are your hosts for Sports Talk, Phil Kornbluth, Kevin McCrary, and Tom Hayes.
Okay, we're back. It's the Friday edition of Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network, and we have been very busy talking amongst ourselves here, but now it's time to talk to you. We'd love to hear from you over the next hour, 800-956-7266 if you'd like to join us and share your thoughts about Clemson and Boston College in particular, Florida State, Notre Dame. Also, do you think Jameis Winston should be in uniform this weekend for Florida State? In your opinion, has anything happened that would, if you were a coach or administrator there, lead you to think that he should be sitting down while all the issues around him are settled? Or is it just a bunch of garbage, and is everything fine with you that he continues to play? You heard our picks. You heard me go with Boston College, not only with the points, but straight up. I gave you my reasons. I'm a little concerned about Cole Stout and the shoulder. I'm concerned about Clemson's ability to run the football. I think Clemson's defense, of course, will be very good, but this is a physical, hard-running Boston College offense with the kind of quarterback that Clemson hasn't faced this year in terms of a quarterback dedicated to running the football, but he can also throw it as well. So if those corners and safeties kind of creep up to help against the run, he can slip somebody behind you and drop a pass in there for a big play. So I can see some problems there, though I'm sure Clemson has prepared for that. But being on the road and up here at BC, Clemson has had some very difficult games, and considering their situation with the quarterback, it puts a lot of doubt in my mind. If Cole Stout had to have a shot last week before he could play, I would imagine He's had to have one this week, or will have to have one this week, perhaps, to be able to play. And one hard lick on that shoulder could put the third-string quarterback in the game. And then all bets are off. 800-956-7266. What do you think about how that game is going to play out, or any of the other games that you want to talk about around the state or around the country this weekend? Be glad to discuss those as well. As far as other games involving state teams coming up this week, we've got let's see, the Citadel at home to UT Chattanooga. Wofford is going to Samford. Charleston Southern at home to Presbyterian, and Newberry will be at home to take on Lenore-Rhine. It's Morehouse at Benedict, North Greenville at Carson Newman, and Jacksonville is playing at Limestone. So that's our schedule around the state for this Saturday. 800-956-7266. We've also got some email we can get to, as well as some posted comments on the website we'll get to as well. But I see the phone lines are lighting up. Give us a call. We'll spend time talking to you when we come back.
Boy, this Mexican is going to be wonderful tonight. You got dinner plans, Corn?
So what?
You got dinner plans for Bostonia tonight?
Ma'am, I went downtown today, met with Ian. We met, like I said, on Boylston Street, which is right in the heart of what they call the Back Bay. What an unbelievable area that is. I told you about the stuff with the marathon bombing. But we ate at this place, kind of an Irish pub place that was delicious. I had fish and chips. It's awesome.
That's my fave.
Oh, you like fish and chips?
Well, not necessarily fish and chips, but an Irish pub where you can grab a sandwich and a nice cold beer.
Yeah, man, it's great. And, it was just really neat watching the people. There's a different way of life up here, man. And it's a place that had an open front, where you could see, there's no window. They open the window. It's windowless at the front, right into the bar area. And that was good. That was good. I don't know. There's a little Italian place right next to the hotel here that I can go over called Chateau. 8 of 9, internationally acclaimed restaurant last night, right close to the hotel. You may have heard of it.
Hey, Corn, do me a favor real fast and reconnect. We got 2 minutes. I just started to lose you.
Okay, how about now? Is it any better?
Yeah, that's a little better, but you started doing that.
Okay, how's it now?
Much better.
Yeah, let's just live with it.
Okay.
You missed it. I said I went to a fine
world-class restaurant, and then when you elongated.
Called Chile's.
I feel like I've heard the term. We're not talking about Chili's, are we?
Actually, it was good.
What was the delicacy?
Well, I love their chips and salsa. They have very good chips and salsa.
A simple man, just like me.
And what did I have? And I had shrimp pasta, shrimp. What do you call it? Not linguine, but shrimp. Huh?
I can do without the pasta.
Yeah, it's good. Vernon Hargraves. Oh, he's probable. Okay. Keith Marshall still doubtful for Georgia. Sonny Michel's out. Chris Conley's questionable. Say what?
Best corner in America.
Vernon Hargraves. Yeah.
Yep. Just injury prone because he's so little.
You take him over Mackenzie Alexander?
He for real?
Well, he's going to be something special.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. Vernon's a monster today.
We still solid?
Yeah, everything's fine. We get 10 minutes coming back. Stand by.
All right, Sports Talk on a Friday night. Great to have you with us. Phil Kornblut up in Boston. K-Mac in the pro off tonight. The state man, Graham Pope, once again behind the bulletproof glass at our studios in downtown Columbia on Main Street. 800-956-7266 is our phone number. Throughout some talking points to discuss with you. Let's go to the phone lines. Love to hear from you now over the next little while here on Sports Talk. Monty Dutton will be here at the bottom of the hour. The full Monty on NASCAR. We'll tell you what's been going on at Talladega. Qualifying is tomorrow, but they did have practice sessions today, and Clint Boyer in the opening session, 200.385. In fact, Eric Almirola and Jamie McMurray also went over 200 miles an hour. To the calls we go, and it's Robert in Charleston up first with us tonight. Hi, Robert, and welcome into Sports Talk.
How you doing, Phil?
Doing great. Thank you.
And it's been a while since I talked to you. I mean, probably 2 or 3 years. I listen to you all the time, but I listen to Bobby and I call Bobby's show. But anyway, that's here and there. Tomorrow, I've got some upsets in the making. If you want to listen to them, sir.
Go right ahead.
Okay. I got Arkansas beating Georgia. Okay, and a close one. That's going to be a close one.
Mm-hmm.
A field goal game. I've got Boston College beating Clemson in Chestnut Hills. And I believe Notre Dame will beat Florida State tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think, sir?
Well, you know what? I've got the same 3 picks. Now, tell me why you think Boston College will beat Clemson.
Chestnut Hills, Clemson always has a problem up there. For some reason, I don't know what it is. If it's the atmosphere, if it's just being up there in Massachusetts, I don't know what it is. But Clemson always has a hard time up there. Do you agree or you disagree?
No. I've been up here every time. Let me think. Yeah, I think I have been up to Boston every time Clemson has played here. And historically, it has been a struggle for the Tigers. Some of their best teams have come in here and had to scratch and claw for everything they could get. So, and this appears to be a good Boston College team to this point. At least when I've read about them, I haven't seen them on television, but it seems like Steve Adazio's got a good thing going here. He's running his style of offense. He's got his type of quarterback. They have put together an outstanding defense, and it looks like I would expect they'll have a pretty big crowd. The problem is up here in Boston. Not that this has anything to do with what happens between the lines, because it really doesn't. But there's just absolutely no talk about Boston College and Clemson. I was listening to the main sports station up here in the city, WEEI, for much of the day because I was traveling around a good bit. And, I mean, all they talk about is the Patriots, which is fine. I mean, you talk about what you think your audience wants to talk about. There wasn't a single mention of Boston College and Clemson when I was listening. So that doesn't mean anything about what's going to happen on the field, but it does maybe say something about the fan support and the influence a stadium can have on a game. Some stadiums can have an influence because of the fan support and the loudness and all that kind of stuff. Clemson won't face that really on Saturday against Boston College, but they will face a very sound defensive team. And I just have my concerns about Cole Stout and his shoulder, how solid is his shoulder, how well he's going to be able to play, and especially if Clemson can't run the ball and it's put on his shoulders, and he's got a bad one, to win the football game with his passing, and that could be a problem for Clemson.
Well, Phil, I love listening to you. You always got a good idea as far as what's going on in college football. I mean, you're right on top of it, and I appreciate listening to your show and everything. And the older gentleman, I love listening to him. I really don't know his name, but I love listening to him. But let's go Gamecocks, and that's all I got to say, Phil.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. Well, Pro, I don't think he, would be bothered by the fact that you referred to him as the older gentleman. He is a little bit older than I am, and we're both a good bit older than K-Mac. So that's why Pro is the wiser, because he's the elder statesman. Thanks for your phone call. 800-956-7266, the number. The lines are open if you want to join us, talking Clemson, Boston College, Florida State, and Notre Dame, and some of the other games around the ACC, SEC, and around the state as well. If you want to jump on board, we've got time for more of your telephone calls. The other top games around the SEC tomorrow. The matchups last week was a fantastic weekend of matchups around the SEC. Not quite as good here. Texas A&M and Alabama. Could be a good game. I think Alabama's gonna roll. I think they're going to get it going against that weak A&M defense. Georgia, Arkansas. I think Arkansas at Little Rock is tough. I think they're going to, they're going to certainly try and run the ball against Georgia. Georgia, again, without Gurley, but they didn't miss him last week against Missouri. But I think Arkansas at Little Rock is going to be a better test. I think LSU and Kentucky. I took Kentucky in the points, but I think LSU is going to win the game. Missouri at Florida. I think Florida will beat Missouri. If you're South Carolina, and I know I get, K-Mac rolls his eyes every time I think I bring up the idea of winning the division, and I know it's an extreme long shot for them. But they could use Arkansas to beat Georgia. And a perfect weekend for South Carolina would be Arkansas beating Georgia. That would help. And Florida beating Missouri, that would help. And LSU beating Kentucky. And I think all three of those events will happen. So I think South Carolina stands a chance for a beneficial weekend for them. We go back to the phones, and we welcome in the de facto mayor of the city of Charleston, the bad boy by the bay, the ninja of the night, the pontiff of the port city, the queen of the cowboy crybabies, and the man who sweeps the Ravenel Bridge every night so it's nice and clean for the traffic the next day. And he gets a new push broom from Bilo at a discount rate because he wears out a push broom per sweeping of the bridge. It's not Jim Rome. It's Jay Rome.
Hey, Phil.
I bet you got some strong calf muscles walking up and down that bridge, sweeping it every night.
I just want to tell you what a dirty little stinking cheat Aaron Rodgers is by pulling that sick baloney. I'm going to spike the ball, then he throws it to the guy. Gee, I wonder who he stole that from.
Why are you whispering, Jerome? Is the warden? Are you going behind the warden's back tonight, making this phone call?
No, was it going to be Dan Marino? Huh, Phil? Is that who he stole it
There are
from?
no secrets. There are no secrets in football, Jay Rome. You know that. I mean, there's copycats everywhere. What works, works. And you know what? Hey, Aaron Rodgers, a.k.a. the Great One, was calm enough. He was within himself enough, and he was in complete control of his environment enough to have the kahunas to pull that play off.
Hey, I just want to tell you a little tip to a quarterback who steals stuff from other people. Don't try that again if you play. Don't even try that if you play the Cowboys, okay?
The Cowboys.
Sure you'll see. And Cowboy AT&T Stadium.
Yeah, we're worried about the Cowgirls. Let me tell you. You know what? You're having yourself a nice little run right now, but you'll be coming back crashing down to earth pretty soon, and Jerry Jones will be busting the stitches in his newly created face once you lose a couple of games here real soon. Thank you, J. Roan. Back in a moment. How'd you like that, sweeping the Ravenel Bridge?
Yeah, I like the new broom at Bilo of all places. You couldn't go Home Depot or Lowe's. I was picking up milk and he got a broom at Bilo.
Had to come up with that one on the fly.
Yeah, I could tell.
You have somebody holding?
No, that was it.
Oh. Change of plans. DJ Jones, change of plans. So confused. He's putting out some weird Twitter stuff.
Ooh, encrypted 18-year-old Twitter stuff. Yeehaw.
I know. We'll try and call him here during the next break.
I matter. Look at me.
Hey, man, that's the world that we have immersed ourselves in.
Oh, no, he's not the only one. That's the thing, is it's a whole new culture. I'm going to have to move to Mars here eventually.
A lot of times these things, they come and they go and they finally go away. But I don't ever see this going away, do you?
No, I'm with you, man. I've thought about that, too. Like, what's next? I don't know what else they're going to do. Stand by.
All right, 800-956-7266 is the phone number. Got a few things to get into. Monty Dutton coming up here at the bottom of the hour break with our full Monty on NASCAR, so stay tuned for that. But a couple things I want to pass along to you. First of all, Jadeveon Clowney was back at practice today with the Texans. He hopes to play Monday night when Houston plays at Pittsburgh. He practiced today in a limited capacity for the first time since arthroscopic surgery on his right knee. Says he's looking forward to playing again. He's very anxious to be out there with his teammates. So let's hope that it goes well and he gets a chance to play. 4 Gamecocks are on Phil Steele's midseason All-SEC team. A.J. Cann, Elliott Fry, first team. Brandon Shell and Sky Moore on the second team. Jimbo Fisher, who, I like Jimbo Fisher. I'm starting to feel kind of sorry for him. His quote today, he was on a radio show, look at the facts of everything that's going on, talking about Jameis Winston. The kid has made mistakes, but he's a tremendous young man. Herschel Walker and Bo Jackson have had some negative things to say about Jameis Winston. And here's the thing with Jimbo that I would say to him. He says he's a tremendous young man. I get that coaches try to cover for their players in many different ways, but tremendous young men aren't caught up in a rape case like Jameis Winston is. Tremendous young men don't steal food from a grocery store as Jameis Winston did. Tremendous young men don't get into BB gun fights that cause damages in residence halls as Jameis Winston did. And tremendous young men don't sell their autograph for X amount of dollars as is being investigated. about Jameis Winston. Now, we don't know if he actually was paid for more than 2,000 signatures now it's turned out to be. Over 2,000 signatures. So in this day and age, you're going to tell me, and I'm sorry for being so cynical, 20 years ago, I was not a cynical talk show host. I was a believe everything somebody would tell you talk show host. And I don't think I was very good as a talk show host at that time. You really can't do this job anymore in sports or really in any aspect of life, if it's sports or politics or news, unless you're cynical, because so many people lie and so many people try to cover things up. So you're going to tell me that he signed over 2,000 authenticated pieces of something that this collector has, and he got nothing for it? I mean, and my point is, personally, I don't care if he got $100 or $10,000. I'm at the point where let the stars get what the market will deliver for them. I know it's against the rules, however, just like with Gurley, and thus you have to pay the price under the current rule structure. So I find it hard to believe, considering the other things that he's done, that he did not get paid for his signature. And Jimbo's sort of digging himself into a hole by constantly defending this guy as a tremendous young man, and I don't see it. Monty Dutton, who is a tremendous young man, coming up. Okay, you don't need me to intro this, right? We're good to go?
Yeah, I just need you to go ahead and mute yourself.
Yeah. Muted.
Thank you. You good to go on how to re-enter this bad boy here in about 10 minutes?
I mean, it's going to end. It's going to end with his comment?
Correct, yeah.
It'll end with his comment. And then I'll just say that's Monty Dutton, the full Monty on NASCAR, blah, blah, blah. I might give some speeds.
He's good at that, but he has absolutely no incentive. And he could well win because he might as well. On the other hand, and he also doesn't have a teammate that it would be beneficial for him to help them win.
Boom, there you go.
Okay.
He gives you his pick, and then boom, you come right back in.
Perfect. I'm going to mute myself.
All right, remember to turn yourself back on before you re-enter.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk here on this Friday night. It's that time on a Friday night when we take off our football helmets and put our racing helmet on as we welcome in Monty Dutton for the full Monty on NASCAR. And you can get Monty's great stuff on his website, his blog, MontyDutton.com, MontyDutton. Before we get to racing, we had one of your mentors, somebody I know that you respect greatly, on the program last night, your former football coach, Keith Richardson.
I just saw him a couple of weeks ago, and we talked at halftime of the Presbyterian College game. He and I are very close. We talk from time to time.
Looks like he could still line up and take your head off.
He's doing very well. His grandson is going to play football at PC next year.
That's right. The quarterback who transferred to Westside, Caleb King, a very good player, I understand.
Right.
All right, let's get to racing. They're at Talladega, and Monty, the talk has been, even for a couple of weeks, that Talladega was going to be the big wild card in the chase, and it is the last race for this particular segment. Is it going to be as wild and as crazy as people have been projecting?
Well, it's always been called the wild card in the chase, but now it's situated right where they narrow the field down to 8, and so I guess it's gone from being a wild card to a crazy quilt, so to speak, because a lot can really happen because it sort of destroys the order of what's going on. Not that there's much order there to be saved, but this race is, you have these people who have a bad race, and, some really big names are in position to not move on, almost the biggest names in many cases. So what this really does is it can be an equalizing factor. I mean, there's sort of an element of luck there, but, you could have a Jimmy Johnson or Dale Earnhardt Jr. who have fallen by the wayside from having a bad race early. Well, if it falls the wrong way, or it might not have much difference at all, or you might have everybody wrecked. So it's really kind of the possibilities are endless.
Well, the guys who really have to have a win to advance, you really have to like Junior's chances. He's won 5 times at Talladega. He and his team have that knack for restrictor plate racing, and if he stays out of trouble, you got to like his chances to win. And would you say it's pretty much a win or nothing for him? Is that the only way he advances, with a win?
It would have to be pretty far-fetched. You would have to have a really selective, surgical incidence of just the right people having just the awful races for him to make it without winning. It could happen, but he needs it, and there's a lot of people. I mean, the fact of the matter is the weird thing about this is that Casey Kane has a 10th place as his best finish in the chase, but yet he is barely in right now. Matt Kenseth is barely out, but behind them it drops off some. So this is Earnhardt Jr. does need to win. Of course, yours truly here picked him to win last week, so that shows how much sense I've got.
So, strategy-wise, I heard Kyle Busch after the race last weekend being interviewed, and he was asked about strategy, and he said, I'm going to run last as long as possible and then, try to be there at the end to make a run. Are we going to see these guys lay back and let the racing take place in front of them to stay out of trouble and then try to make a move in the last 10 laps? Is that what they're going to do? Or do you try and charge early and separate you can't really separate yourself, but get up front and stay up front as much as possible?
Well, I think that probably if you try one or the other and leave everything out in between, the trouble is that when there's 43 cars on the track, somebody has to be in the middle. But I think that clearly the best way is either to stay up front and so if there's a wreck, at least you're not behind 20 cars that are spinning, or go back in the back so it gives you time to avoid it. So I don't really know. I think in some ways the way the race begins will set the tone, because if they have a wreck 5 laps into the race, it's going to make things feverish probably the rest of the way. But I think it's also possible that it could be a really boring 2 hours because people are staying out of trouble. But as I said, you can't really stay out of trouble because no matter how much I mean, not everybody can stay up front, and not everybody can drop to the back. For there to be a back, there has to be a middle.
We have
so
seen
pit
races
strategy
at
and how
Talladega.
you come off pit road will have a lot to do with it.
Well, we've seen races at Talladega where they have become very conservative, and they do get in the long lines, and they just drive around and around and around in the circles, and there's no cautions and there's no big wrecks. And then there is the drama of the last 10 laps, last 5 laps. So you just have to you wonder what approach the drivers are going to take, and who sets that approach. I mean, is it on the track that a driver or drivers on their own decide we're going to run it this way? Is it something that's done prior to the race in discussions with the drivers? How is that done?
Well, I think fate has something to do with it because, you could have someone who has an unscheduled pit stop and falls 2 laps behind or 3 laps behind, and he can't really pick up ground without there being something like some caution periods and free passes and wave arounds to get back in it. And, I think fate dictates it in part, but you're exactly right. There have been some Talladega races, particularly during the tandem drafting era where people were bouncing off each other 2 at a time, in which it looked like what I would call formation flying. It was almost like for the first 2/3 of the race, it was kind of like they were all getting together saying, hey, who hadn't led? Oh, okay, David Reagan, come on up the front now. You can lead a while. I mean, it was just like kind of, if it means that much to you, go ahead. And then at the end, one of the fascinating things about Talladega is always the fact that you have relatively unknown drivers who are running up front, and some of them have won. But then at the end of the race, all of the big names start heading to the front, and all of the guys who have been up there all day are stubborn and don't understandably want to give up that track position. And a lot of times wrecks happen because of upward and downward mobility. Wasn't anything. There's not very much nobility at all. You have people dropping and headed up, and that's what makes the end really crazy.
Speaking of nobility, what'd you think of the fisticuffs in the garage after last weekend's race?
I think it's just like you don't know how that race is going to go. I'm sure that nobody planned to show their rear like they did, but people in the heat of battle do things that they regret later. And I expect that for many of the fans, it was a rousing spectacle that made up in their minds for a fairly routine actual race.
Could you see any of that carry over on the track Sunday?
Oh, I covered 40 consecutive races at Talladega, and Talladega, with a possible exception of Bristol, is definitely the other track where at the end of the race it used to be kind of fun when you go out in the garage area because almost everybody was mad at somebody. So, yes, I could see it happening.
Can you go out on a limb and just say and come up with one guy you think's going to emerge?
Well, I would pick Harvick because he's good at that, but he has absolutely no incentive, and he could well win because he might as well. On the other hand, and he also doesn't have a teammate that it would be beneficial for him to help them win.
Monty Dutton, the full Monty on NASCAR here tonight on Sports Talk. And as I mentioned earlier, the practice sessions today, 200 miles an hour plus for 3 of the drivers in the opening session. Qualifying will be tomorrow at Talladega and the race on Sunday. All right, 800-956-7266. We've got more time for your calls coming up here on Sports Talk. We'll be back in a moment. Good job, good job.
How's done?
Nicely done, nicely done. I can't get DJ Jones to answer the phone. Try him again. Do, do, do,
Horn, are you talking?
Yeah,
Boy, you're
that's
really
just me
waiting.
making noise. Do, do, do. I'm really what?
Talk to me.
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Okay, there we go. That's much better.
Just hang on for 14 more minutes, brother.
Don't worry, I'm hanging. Remember I told you I had to cut you clean for the end of that Ellis interview? Remember you ran a little long, I had to cut you mid-sentence?
Oh, yeah.
Here it is, hold on.
A little bit beat up, so Jamel President started for him. Oh, yeah. That was great.
That's right. Who's the man? Who is the man?
You the man. You the man.
Run everything we need to run, correct?
Beg pardon?
We run everything audio-wise we need to run. We don't have anything else, do we?
No.
All right. All right, stand by. Here we go.
All right, a few more minutes to go in the program tonight. If you want to join us, 800-956-7266 is the number. Email talkback@sportstalksc.com. And last few minutes here, last chance for you to get on board with thoughts about the weekend and what is going to transpire in some of the top games of the weekend. A reminder, the South Carolina Electric Cooperatives Touchstone Energy Bowl for 2014 coming up in Myrtle Beach December 13th. Make sure you get your tickets in advance if you choose. Of course, there'll be tickets at the door. They've got a big weekend planned, a big day on that Saturday with a lot of stuff around the football game. And, of course, at halftime, the announcement of Mr. Football in South Carolina. You need a reason to go to Myrtle Beach? There's a good one. It's the Touchstone Energy Bowl North-South game on December 13th in Myrtle Beach. Get your butt on down there and in the stands for that outstanding high school game. There's more Jameis Winston to talk about. And first of all, the AD at FSU, Stan Wilcox, said today he's got no evidence that Winston took any money in exchange for signing memorabilia. He did say the athletic department's compliance staff is still investigating the matter. And he says that they have no indication indicating that he accepted payment for items reported to bear his signature, thereby compromising his athletics eligibility, Wilcox said in a statement. Been reports that hundreds of Winston's autographs were authenticated by James Spence, the same guy who authenticated Todd Gurley's signature. No one has come forward and alleged that Winston took any money for the signatures. Now, on the other issue of the rape case, his attorney said that Winston has met a deadline regarding a school investigative hearing. He had a deadline to respond to the Office of Students' Rights and Responsibilities today, after FSU notified him in a letter last week that it would be moving forward with proceedings conducted by an outside third party. His attorney said that Winston responded to Florida State, or he responded on Winston's behalf. This first reported by ESPN. And they've got to, of course, decide on which of three retired judges would conduct the hearing. Here's my theory on this. And again, here's the cynic in me, but here's my theory on this. You know how justice is doled out in Tallahassee and around Florida State. I think the history speaks for itself. So here we are heading into the second half of the football season. This particular issue dates back to 2012. It has still not been completely resolved. Here it is heading towards the end of 2014. And my theory is that this thing's going to drag on, and any date that might be set for this hearing would be after the football season. Again, the cynic in me says they're going to wait till after the football season to set the date. And then, after the football season is over, of course, and after he either plays in a bowl game or the playoffs, and if Florida State doesn't make the playoff and is only going to just a regular bowl game, I could even see this happening. I see Winston withdrawing from school and going on and preparing, signing with an agent, getting his money, up front from the agent, withdrawing from school. Then he doesn't have to worry about a school hearing, does he? He's no longer a student. Can they go back and hold a hearing on a guy that might have done something when he was a student but is no longer a student? I wouldn't think that they could. So that's my theory on this. I think this thing's going to play out until after the football season, then he's going to say, see ya. And he's going to put Tallahassee in his rear view mirror. Okay? That's just my, once again, cynical take on all of this. Some email that we can get to here. Email sit into us, talkback@sportstalksc.com. And let's see, this is from James, who writes in about the new trophy for the USC-Clemson game. He says it can be any size and fit in South Carolina's trophy case. Lol. LOL for those of you who don't understand Twitter shorthand. Lol. Laughing out loud. Taking a shot at the Gamecocks. And apparently he is saying that the Gamecocks don't have a bunch of trophies in their trophy case to take up. There's plenty of room in the South Carolina trophy case to handle another trophy. Okay. This is from Brad. USC has plenty of room in their trophy case. Make it as big as you want. The 69 ACC trophy is probably rusted away by now. Oh, God, that's just mean. Just mean. We'll be back to wrap it up in a moment.
Just for giggles, LOL precedes Twitter by, I don't know, 12, 15 years.
They did?
Yeah, it's been around since AOL, buddy.
You mean it's an email expression?
No, not email. I mean, it's just you got to think back to the AOL chat rooms and stuff of the mid-'90s.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, it's just what's the word I'm looking
for? Well, yeah, I didn't
so
say. Well, I'm not saying
laugh out loud. I'm laughing at what you typed in a chat room or something.
I'm not saying it was created by Twitter, but I'm saying that's where it lives now.
Oh yeah, sure. Twitter, Facebook. I mean, text messages, any kind of communication. I'm laughing at what you said wherever you did the text.
You're an idiot. I'm laughing at you, idiot.
Ha ha ha. He.
Do. Well,
don't do it.
Don't
do it.
Yeah, you're right. Hang on.
I can already smell which avenue you're trying to roll down, and it's a bad idea. And for Corn, K-Mac, and the Pro, I am the Pope. We made it 10 segments. This is number 11. We will see you Monday. Here's a lot of music. Goodbye.
Do. Lorenzo Nunez, John Simpson. Okay. All right, time to begin wrapping things up on this Friday night. Get a couple of more emails out of the way here and then check on some high school scores. Let's see here. This is from Joe T., who writes in talking about South Carolina. Spurrier optimistic about turning it around in the second half, and he writes, well, at least someone is optimistic unless we have suddenly found some defensive players with the desire and or talent to win. I don't hold out much hope. Oh, how quickly they turn on you. This is from Taterhead. First of all, I've been a Gamecock fan since Billy Gambrell played about 56 years ago. From deep inside, I wish to thank the coach for the best years that we have experienced, especially the 5 in a row over Clemson, as most fans in Abbeville County are Tigers. Now, here is my problem. I believe that the best years have went down the drain for this year as well as the next because of flat-out terrible coaching on both sides of the ball. How did the coaches miss so badly on the talent level of Mitch and Nosovich? Shouldn't someone get a couple of snaps each game? My last question is the talent on defense not there? Or are they just not coached? If the talent isn't there, isn't that on whammy? I think most of us fans are fed up with hearing, if I had to do it over, and we just can't tackle anyone. We wish for this BS to be fixed, or we expect whammy to be gone at this year's end. Based on how the players play on defense, I find it hard to believe in the 2015 class if we can keep them. Whammy is in over his head, and Steve needs to run the ball. Okay. He pretty much says it all there as far as what he's expecting from the Gamecocks. I would say that it's too soon to know on Mitch. Certainly, they missed on Nosovich as a quarterback because they moved him to tight end. There is some talent on defense, maybe not as much as they've had, but there's some young players that have to be developed, and in time, they'll be good players. All right, let me check some high school football scores before we have to say goodbye. See what I can pick off of Twitter here. Northwestern is leading its game 14-0. These are all first quarter scores. And Creek Bridge, oh, this pains me to say this, Creek Bridge with a 6-0 lead on Latta. It's a big game there. Well Branch is leading 21-0 in its game. They don't always tell you who is playing in the ball game. Florence Christian leads Hammond 7-0. Broome 14-7 over Chester. McBee 20-0 over Great Falls. Powdersville 14-0 over Chesney. Buford 7, Hilton Head nothing. Let's see. Darlington leading Carolina Forest 14 to no, I take that back. Carolina Forest leading South Florence 14-3. That would be an upset if that holds up. All right, that's going to do it. Thank you, Steak Man, for a great production tonight. Everybody have a great weekend. Follow us, sportstalksc.com for the ball games. We'll see you Monday. Did I get out in time?
Yes.